Hey guys, welcome back to Real Time JC, Real Time Jesus, in episode 28 with me, Stephanie. The title of today's episode is He's Close, But I'm Not Always. The Trap of the Good Distractions. But first, I wanted to say a quick welcome to all of those who are joining me for the very first time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this channel with your friends, or this episode even with your friends. And Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I film these episodes immediately following my quiet time with Jesus. And my hope is that you feel encouraged, that you find hope, that you feel the peace of God just surrounding you, and that you'll share what God's doing in your life with your friends as well, just like I'm doing with you. And it may not be through a video, but it may just be through a quick cup of coffee at your local coffee shop, or a phone call, or a text message. But just share with your friends, because the more that you do that, the more joy fills your heart, the more that knowledge that God is imparting on you sticks in there, and then it's contagious. More and more people share with their friends, and guys, that's called discipleship. It's so cool. All right, so let's dig in today. Psalms 90:14 says, "Let the sunrise of your love end our dark night, break through our clouded dawn again. Only you can satisfy our hearts, filling us with songs of joy to the end of our days." I don't know about you, but I can become very distracted from spending time with God and giving Him my first moments of the day during the season. And realistically, it can happen anytime, but specifically during the Christmas season. Now, we just arrived here in the Ozark Mountains at the home of my parents' house just last night, and already I can sense myself, like in my days, being filled with all of the fun, just spending time with family, catching up, going to the store, seeing what's new in the town that I grew up in, you know, all the new things that come in, new restaurants and shops and things, and then the food and the planning and all of the stuff that comes with this time of year. And already this morning, I could sense myself already starting to become distant from God. And it literally, guys, like, it's been one day. And how easy is it for us to have moments where we forget that God is even here? And I think what God was showing me this morning through my quiet time with Him, because I did it a little bit later than I normally would, so already I was starting to feel like, I'm not giving Him that time. But what He was showing me is that it doesn't need to look the same every single day. It doesn't need to look like, it doesn't need to be rigid. And I think I need to speak to some of you out there who may get caught in that trap of rigidity. I think I'm saying that right, but of like, I have to have my coffee and then I have to go have my quiet time with Jesus. And what that looks like is, I've got to open my Bible and I have to read one chapter here in Psalms, and then I got to go read one chapter in Proverbs, and then I got to go open my commentary, and I have to read a chapter there and make sure I'm doing all of it. And you hear what I'm saying. I think even though that is a good thing, that you have a structured schedule laid out for you, and for me, I'm talking to myself in this, it's okay if when you are taking time to spend with family for the holidays, if your quiet time doesn't look the same as it normally does. So be free of that right now. Just be free of that. It's okay. What I think God was showing me today is that we can become super distracted by the good stuff and forget to spend any time with Him at all. Forget why we're celebrating Christmas. The Magi in the Bible, in the Christmas story, give us a really good example of people who didn't even necessarily know who God was. I'm looking back here at some of the commentaries that I've been reading about the Christmas story, and this one, The Sea is for Christmas, is awesome about that. But the Magi, this commentator is saying they most likely came from Babylonia or Persia, and they were scholar scientists, and they looked to the stars to discover things and to learn things. They thought that great men that were born, that you could see that their birth was in the stars. And so that's an interesting thing. Obviously, we don't believe that sort of thing, and astrology was looked down upon, especially by the Jewish religion. But what is cool in that, guys, is that God meets people where they're at, and he met the Magi where they were at in that, and they looked to the stars for signs. And so he put the star in the sky to signify, as a sign, that there was a king to be born, or a great man to be born. Well, the Persian and Babylonian scholars may have heard about those messianic promises from Jewish people. And so they recognized that there was a Jewish king that was being born from that sign in the stars. And so they traveled to Jerusalem and found out that the king was born only 6 miles away from Bethlehem. Now, here's where the interesting thing happened. And this lesson is not necessarily from the Magi, but it's from King Herod. And King Herod was a very ruthless king, and he wasn't Jewish. This is the crazy thing. Like, he came from the line of Esau, and Esau, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Esau and Jacob were 2 brothers, and Jacob stole the birthright from Esau. So we don't very much hear about the line of Esau, but here's that fun fact for you, that King Herod most likely came from that line. But in this ancient scene of the Magi coming to visit Jesus, he went through Jerusalem and first visited Herod. Well, Herod did not want this king to live. He knew the messianic prophecies and knew that this king was going to be a savior of the world. Well, that would have threatened his kingship, wouldn't it have? So I don't even know why I'm laughing about that, because that's a terrible thing. But along with King Herod, there was also the priests of the time, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I hope that I am. But guys, like, they knew what the prophecies were, and they were speaking about all of those scriptures that signified that the Messiah was coming. And yet the Messiah was born 6 miles away from Jerusalem, where a lot of them practiced. I don't know if that would be the right word, but yeah, I don't know what the right word, but where a lot of them were priests, and yet they didn't recognize that Jesus was the Son of God. They didn't make a move to go see him, or to even try to see if he was the Son of God. Just like check it out. They didn't at all. You even had the Queen of Sheba, who was a Gentile, come to learn about the wisdom from Solomon back in the Old Testament, but yet you don't have the Jewish priest who spoke about the coming Messiah even go check out the baby who was the Messiah. And I think that's what God's impressing upon my heart today, is that we can become so locked into our traditions, specifically around Christmas time, and all of the things that comes wrapped up, that are good things about Christmas and are good things about this time of year, with the gift giving and the decorating and the parties and the music. I mean, I love music. I'm one of the first ones to tell you that, like, to say that, like, music is my world. I love it so much. But yet we can become distracted by those things and forget to worship God through this time. So that's it. That's all that God had impressed upon my heart. It wasn't like a long devotion today, but it was specific to me, and that don't become too distracted while I'm here visiting in the Ozark Mountains with my wonderful family. So distracted that you forget why you're here, why he's here. And that is to bring good news, to share with those around us what he came to do. He's the savior of the world, not just for the Jews, but for the Gentiles. And we're part of that. We're part of that. So be encouraged today, that be free. If you are visiting family, if you are if there's a lot of stuff going on, be free from the rigidity, I think that's the right word, of having to do this set amount of time, this chapter, and you know what I'm saying. But also, do take the time to spend with him today. And I will see you next time. And I think I have some surprises this week. just depending on what God is impressing upon my spirit to share with you. But more surprises involving my family. I may have a special guest coming on Wednesday and Friday to spend with us here on Real Time JC. So don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.